Well, and for Christian churches in general, Lent is the period of 40 days leading up to Easter. It was a time when traditionally folks were preparing to be baptized at the Feast of Easter, and so over the centuries, the church has adopted the season of Lent as a time when other people would sort of in solidarity go through their own period of renewing their faith.
The emphasis that you have each year, I mean, you pick a different topic and really zero in on it.
So we like to start the Lenten weekend. We like to start our season of Lent with this Lenten weekend as a way to kind of kick off the season. Each year we have a different topic, a different speaker. So this year our topic is Rooted in Wholeness. And we've been using that as a theme for our programs this entire year. And we want to focus on the practice of meditation as a way to experience wholeness and oneness with God.
And when you talk about meditation, and you've got a great video out that people should see.
Meditation is sometimes misunderstood in faith circles. People think, well, what or that's something that only certain faiths do, like the Buddhists. When there is actually a long tradition of Christian meditation and other faiths practicing meditation. We've invited a Buddhist, the Reverend Ocean Jennings, a Zen priest from Washington, D.C., to come and be with us for this weekend, because we believe that we can learn a lot from other faiths.
As you mentioned that, I thought he really is someone that will be able to teach all of us about this topic.
Right. So his meditation is sort of his forte, and I think we sometimes we all need help in going deeper into our practice of slowing down, quieting the mind, and opening our hearts.
I told you on the way over here this morning, twice I ran into people who were stopped at lights because they were texting. And I realized, well, I wasn't getting really angry. Knowing I was coming to talk to you about meditation, I thought this is something that we all need to, throughout every day and in our lives, know a little bit about.
Yeah. Meditation is one of those practices that when we do it regularly, in those moments when we feel triggered by something, it can help us to return to that sense of calmness and peace, and to remember that we are all connected, and sometimes that can help us to have greater compassion for others, which in those moments when you're driving and someone cuts in front of you, it can be hard to have compassion for that person. But that really is, I think, one of the aims of this practice too. It's not just personal peace, inner peace for me, but peace that then allows me to be compassionate toward others and practice kindness and make the world a better place.
I like each year the people that when you bring in, like you say, you'll bring in really experts on different things and from different faiths. And I would think that for the St. George's family here, there's a lot of learning that can take place.
St. George's has really enjoyed opening its doors to the wider community, has enjoyed bringing in people, like you said, experts from different perspectives, because our people like to learn, but we also we like to, like I said, open the doors wide and bring in the rest of the community to learn with us. So this year, having our guest be a Buddhist, I think is in keeping with St. George's kind of long tradition of having conversations and dialogues across many different lines of faith differences.
And he's deaf. That's another interesting perspective.
It is. So we've been trying to be a church that welcomes deaf people, welcomes the ASL or American Sign Language community. One of our parishioners, Beth Klein, is an ASL interpreter, and she interprets our 9 a.m. service on Sundays. She has had a relationship with Ocean Jennings. She's meditated at his Zen temple, and actually felt like that meditation practice with the Buddhist deepened her Christian faith. So she came to us and said, can we invite him to come to St. George's? And it just happened to be a great connect with our Lenten Weekend. We thought, well, this would be a great speaker for our Lenten Weekend. So part of the purpose of the weekend, too, is to bring the whole community together. The entire weekend will be ASL translated or interpreted so that anyone can participate.
Interesting. So, and this is the Lenten Weekend. It starts Friday and goes right through Sunday, and you've got events all weekend long.
That's right. It starts Friday evening. We're going to have a potluck meal, so we invite people to come and break bread together at 6, and then at 7 o'clock we will have Ocean begin his instruction. He'll give a 2-hour session on Friday evening, another 2-hour session again on Saturday evening. And then on Sunday morning, he will preach at our 9 a.m. service, which, as I said, is ASL interpreted. And he himself is able to speak, even though he's deaf. He can speak, and as well as, of course, sign. And then he will give a forum talk at 10 a.m., telling a little more of his story. So I think he has a very interesting story. And then he'll have lunch with a group of our youth. And then at 2 o'clock, we're going to have a panel discussion with Ocean and some people representing other faith traditions, as well as a physician who teaches mindfulness, stress-based reduction, to talk about how meditation is a practice that can really bring the community together, something we can all do together, as well as how in different faiths meditation is viewed as a practice. One of the things that I've always said is that silence is truly the universal language of all faiths. We can really be silent together, and that's something that really shouldn't have any problem at all. It's a wonderful way to be together.
And this is an event you may not go to St. George's, but I'm sure you're welcome to take part in this weekend.
That's right. As I said, we open the doors wide to the whole community, and we really want anyone who's interested in this topic to come and explore with us, and we love to offer that hospitality.
So often, I think a lot of people will look at churches that feel like that they have all the answers, and I think you bringing in speakers like this and others in the past, I mean, you're wide open, and you want to learn from anyone that can teach.
Yeah, I think St. George's and many churches in our tradition are trying to be churches that are asking questions. We don't have all the answers, and some people have asked, well, why would you bring in somebody who's not Christian into a Christian church? And my response is that, as I said with the story earlier with our parishioner Beth Klein, that it is often through our interactions with people from different faiths that we can grow in our own faith. And so my hope is that by practicing meditation, by learning from an expert in a different tradition, that we'll go closer to God in our own tradition too.
And you think you'll learn from him, and I think he'll learn from you.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we develop a good relationship and can continue to explore together.
This kicks off the Lenten season, and you always, as we said earlier, you always do this. And I guess just check the St. George's website, because you've got a lot of events through the season, right up to Easter Sunday.
That's right. We try. This is the time of year where it's sort of spring cleaning, kind of spiritually speaking. So we have some extra things for people to do, not because we want to give people extra work, but just as a way to renew their spiritual faith, their spiritual practices. So we have a lot of different offerings. Yeah.
You've dealt with a lot of different subjects the Lenten Weekend at St. George's. Are you thinking ahead already to years down the road of topics you want to do?
We're always thinking. I mean, it's often dependent on there've been times where we've gotten a particular speaker to come. You know, for example, Marcus Borg, the Bible scholar, came one year, and that was just so. Then we kind of tailored the weekend around him. I wasn't here at that point, but this has been going on now. This is our 11th weekend. I've been here myself. This will be my 5th weekend, and so it's we're always looking ahead to see, you know, who might we be able to get in the future. Like I said, this one wasn't one that we were necessarily planning on all along, but when Beth brought it up, it seemed like the perfect match.
As you talk about it, because you do look at it at first and you think, but as you've explained it, I mean, I like the way you've explained it.
Yeah, and it went right along with our theme of being rooted in wholeness, and part of that wholeness is exploring the wholeness of what it means to be in community with people of many different faiths, and as well as the wholeness of connecting with our whole selves, body, mind, and spirit.